All right, for this next lab, it's called the mass of dissolved salt. Okay, and so I'm going to attach this on Canvas. You should have this in your comp book, 2 data tables, one for trial 1, one for trial 2, and then this is attached to the mass of dissolved salt section. You'll need to answer these 3 blue questions in 1 through 5, which you should be able to do with what I've done here. So it says here, pour about 2 grams of salt into the cap of a small plastic bottle and carefully put it aside. Pour water into the plastic bottle until it's about 2/3 full. So, I'll set this up so you can see it. I'm going to take this bottle, fill it 2/3 full. We're going to mass that cap and add 2 grams of salt to it. So let me go over here and get the water. Here's the plastic bottle, about 2/3 full of water. The cap has a mass of less than 10. Looks to me like it's about I can get this thing to move. Almost 3.4. We'll call it 3.38. And so we wouldn't put 2 grams of salt in it, so we're going to move the riders to 5.38. And then we're going to add the salt to the cap until it balances. Just like that. It's not exactly on the mark, but it's going to be close enough for us. And then what we're going to do is we're going to mass all this together. This is going to be your mass before. So I'm going to move the riders back to 0. I'm not sure if it's going to be 100. It actually is going to be 100. Let's see if it's going to be 200. No. So it's 100 and something. $110. $112. I'm going to call it 112.53. Okay, 112. Let's look at it here. 0.53. And then what we want to do is we're just going to take the salt that's in this cap and pour it into the plastic bottle as carefully as we can so we don't spill anything. Sometimes that's difficult with it being in the cap. And I've got most of it in there. We're going to screw on the cap and we're going to let it dissolve. You can see that, I'm not sure if you can see that or not, but there's a little bit of salt there at the bottom, so let's just shake it up. Make sure we don't spill any water. I think I've got the cap on there plenty tight. I'm going to zero that out again. So that first mass that I gave you is your mass before. So that's before it's dissolved. The second mass that I'm going to give you is going to be your mass after. You can see that there is no salt left in there. So we put the salt back on. And I'm going to move the riders back. I know it's 100 and something, 110. Um, 112.72 is what it looks like to me. Okay, that's trial 1. Then we're going to do the same thing. Okay, I'm going to dump the water out, get some more water, take the cap off, remask the cap. Okay, so got some new water. The cap, I can't remember exactly what it was. 3 point something. So it's about 3.52 this time. So I'm going to move it to 5.52. We're going to again add 2 grams of salt. And again, it doesn't have to be exact. That's about 2 grams. I'm going to put the water, the cap of salt on there, mass it all again. So this time it's, let me get so you can see it. I would call this 110, 114. It's almost to the 6. I'd say it's about halfway between 114.55. And so just like before, we're going to pour the salt in the plastic container very carefully so we don't spill it. It's a little bit more difficult the second time because the salt wants to stick because the cap was wet. I think I've got most of it in there, so I'm going to flip it over. Screw the cap on tight. You can see just a bit of salt down there at the bottom, so I'm going to shake it up. And we'll put it back on there. I didn't zero it out, but what you should see here is that it's exactly the same as what it was before. So 114.55 is what I'll call it. All right, so to find the change in mass, all you have to do is take, it says right here, the mass after minus the mass before. So this number minus this number. There's 6 spots up here for you to get every lab group's data. I don't think we're going to be able to do that this year because some of you are going to be at home to do this. But I'll give you a data table that's going to look very similar to this. It's going to have numbers from last year on it. And we'll talk about that tomorrow. So make sure you go back through and answer the questions, the 3 blue questions in 1 through 5.